Maya had been looking for a roommate for 3 whole months. Her small apartment in the city was getting too expensive to handle alone. Every month she watched her savings get smaller, while the rent stayed the same. She posted ads everywhere.
Online, on bulletin boards, even asked friends to spread the word. But finding the right person was harder than she thought. Some people who called seemed nice on the phone but never showed up. Others came to look at the place but wanted to change everything about it. One woman even asked if she could bring her 3 cats and a large dog. Maya loved animals, but her lease clearly said no pets allowed. Then, on a rainy Tuesday morning, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was soft and friendly. The caller introduced herself as Lisa and said she had seen Maya's ad online. She sounded different from all the others. Polite, interested, and genuinely excited about the possibility of living there. They arranged to meet that same evening. Maya spent the afternoon cleaning the apartment, making sure everything looked perfect. She wanted to make a good impression. When Lisa knocked on the door at exactly 6 o'clock, Maya felt hopeful. Lisa was everything Maya had hoped for in a roommate. She was clean, well-dressed, and spoke in a calm, gentle way. As Maya showed her around the small apartment, Lisa nodded approvingly at everything. She loved the kitchen, admired the living room, and even complimented Maya's choice of curtains. "This place feels like home already," Lisa said with a warm smile. "I can tell you take really good care of it." Maya felt proud hearing those words. She had worked hard to make the apartment comfortable and cozy. It felt good to have someone appreciate her efforts. During their conversation, Lisa shared that she worked from home doing graphic design. She explained that she was quiet, clean, and respectful of others' space. She even mentioned that she enjoyed cooking and wouldn't mind sharing meals sometimes. Everything about her seemed perfect. What surprised Maya the most was how eager Lisa was to move in. Most people wanted to think about it or see other places first, but Lisa asked if she could move in by the weekend. She even offered to pay 3 months of rent up front. "I really want to secure this place," Lisa explained. "I've been looking for so long and this feels exactly right. Would it be okay if I got my own set of keys made right away? I like to be prepared." Maya was thrilled. After months of uncertainty about her finances, having 3 months of rent paid in advance felt like a huge relief. Lisa's eagerness seemed like a good sign. It meant she was serious and responsible. They spent the next hour going over practical details. Lisa asked lots of questions about the building, the neighborhood, and daily routines. She wanted to know what time Maya usually left for work, when she typically came home, and what her weekend plans usually involved. "I like to know these things, so I can be respectful," Lisa explained. "I don't want to be cooking when you're trying to sleep or watching TV when you need quiet time for work calls." Maya appreciated how thoughtful Lisa was being. It showed she cared about making their living situation work well for both of them. Most of the other potential roommates hadn't even asked basic questions like these. Lisa also mentioned that she was very organized and liked to keep track of household things. She offered to help with managing bills, keeping cleaning schedules, and making sure everything ran smoothly. Maya had always struggled with staying organized, so this sounded wonderful. The first few weeks after Lisa moved in were like a dream. Maya came home from work each day to find the apartment spotless. The dishes were always done, the floors were clean, and everything was in its proper place. Lisa had even bought some plants to brighten up the living room. But what touched Maya the most were the small surprises Lisa left for her. Sometimes she would find freshly baked cookies on the kitchen counter with a little note saying, "Thought you might enjoy these after your long day." Other times, there would be beautiful flowers in a vase with a card that read, "Just wanted to brighten your week." Lisa seemed to know exactly what Maya needed. On stressful days at work, Maya would come home to find her favorite tea already brewed and waiting. When Maya mentioned she was tired, Lisa would offer to handle the grocery shopping. When Maya felt overwhelmed with household tasks, Lisa would quietly take care of them without being asked. Maya felt incredibly lucky. All her friends complained about their roommate situations. People who left messes, made noise at all hours, or brought home unwanted guests. But Lisa was the opposite of all those problems. She was quiet, clean, and amazingly considerate. Lisa also seemed genuinely interested in Maya as a person. She would ask about Maya's day, remember important meetings or events Maya had mentioned, and always seemed to care about the answers. It felt nice to have someone who paid attention and actually listened. Sometimes Maya wondered if it was too good to be true. Lisa's kindness and attention to detail were almost overwhelming. She seemed to remember everything Maya said and notice every little thing about her daily routine. But Maya pushed these thoughts away. After all the difficult roommate experiences her friends had shared, she felt grateful to have found someone so thoughtful. Lisa had a way of making everything better. When Maya felt stressed about work, Lisa would suggest they watch a movie together. When Maya mentioned missing home-cooked meals, Lisa would surprise her with delicious dinners. When Maya felt lonely, Lisa always seemed to appear at just the right moment with conversation or a kind gesture. The apartment felt more like home than it ever had before. Maya found herself looking forward to coming back each day, knowing Lisa would be there with her warm smile and thoughtful gestures. For the first time in months, Maya felt truly settled and happy in her living situation. Everything seemed perfect, and Maya couldn't imagine how lucky she was to have found such an ideal roommate. After 2 months of living together, Maya started noticing small changes in her daily routine. At first, these changes seemed helpful. Lisa had begun doing Maya's laundry along with her own, folding everything neatly and placing it on Maya's bed. When Maya thanked her, Lisa would smile and say she was just trying to make life easier for both of them. But then Maya noticed that some of her favorite clothes were missing. When she asked Lisa about them, Lisa explained that she had donated them to charity because they looked worn out or didn't fit properly anymore. Maya felt confused because those clothes had been perfectly fine, but Lisa seemed so sincere about wanting to help that Maya didn't want to seem ungrateful. The kitchen started changing too. Lisa rearranged all the cabinets, putting things in what she called more logical places. Maya's favorite coffee mug disappeared, replaced by a set of matching cups that Lisa had bought. When Maya asked about her old mug, Lisa said it had accidentally broken and she'd gotten something much nicer to replace it. Small notes started appearing around the apartment. They were written in Lisa's neat handwriting and seemed friendly at first. "Please remember to wipe down the counter after making coffee," one note read. Another said, "Let's try to keep noise down after 9 p.m. for better rest." Maya didn't mind these suggestions, but she hadn't realized she was being loud or messy. Lisa also started taking care of bills and household management. She offered to handle the internet bill, saying she could get a better deal through her work connections. She changed the Wi-Fi password to something more secure, promising to share it with Maya later. But somehow Maya never got the new password, and whenever she asked, Lisa would say she'd text it to her soon, but then seemed to forget. The grocery shopping became Lisa's responsibility too. She said she enjoyed it and knew how to find the best deals. Maya was grateful at first, especially since Lisa always bought healthy, expensive foods that Maya couldn't normally afford. But gradually, Maya noticed that her favorite snacks and brands were no longer appearing in their kitchen. When she mentioned this, Lisa would explain that those items were unhealthy or overpriced, and that she'd found much better alternatives. Maya's social life began to shift as well. When friends called to make plans, Lisa would often appear in the living room during the conversation. She wouldn't interrupt directly, but would start cleaning nearby or organizing something loudly enough that Maya felt distracted. Sometimes, Lisa would even mouth suggestions about what Maya should say, claiming she was just trying to help Maya avoid making plans when she looked tired. When Maya did have friends over, Lisa would emerge from her room within minutes of their arrival. She would join the conversations, offering drinks and snacks, being incredibly friendly and helpful. But somehow, Maya's friends never seemed to stay very long anymore. They would make excuses to leave earlier than usual, and Maya couldn't understand why. One evening, Maya's best friend Kate called to check in. During their conversation, Kate mentioned that she felt like Maya had been distant lately. She said that whenever she visited or called, Lisa seemed to always be there, and it made having private conversations difficult. Maya felt defensive, explaining that Lisa was just being friendly and hospitable. But Kate's words stuck with Maya. She started paying more attention to Lisa's behavior during social visits. Lisa did seem to appear whenever Maya had company, and she did tend to dominate conversations. When Maya tried to have private moments with friends, Lisa would find reasons to interrupt, asking about drinks or food or mentioning something she thought the guests would find interesting. The apartment's atmosphere was changing too. Lisa had gradually replaced Maya's decorations with her own choices. She explained that she was just updating things to make the place look more modern and put together. Maya's family photos were moved to less prominent places, replaced by abstract art that Lisa said was more sophisticated. The cozy, personal feeling Maya had worked hard to create was disappearing, replaced by something that looked perfect, but felt cold. Lisa's work schedule seemed to become more flexible as well. She started working from home almost every day, which meant she was always there when Maya returned from work. Maya began to miss having alone time in her own apartment. Even when she went to her bedroom, she could feel Lisa's presence in the next room, and somehow it made her feel like she couldn't fully relax. The helpful gestures that had seemed so thoughtful in the beginning started feeling overwhelming. Lisa would have Maya's tea ready before Maya even realized she wanted it. She would suggest what Maya should wear each day, laying out clothes that she thought would look better. She would plan Maya's weekend activities, finding events and activities that she insisted would be perfect for Maya's interests. Maya began to feel like she was losing control of her own life, but she couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong. Everything Lisa did seemed kind and thoughtful on the surface. When Maya tried to express concerns, Lisa would look hurt and confused, asking if Maya was unhappy with her efforts to help and make things better for both of them. The guilt Maya felt after these conversations was overwhelming. Lisa seemed so genuine in her desire to help, and Maya wondered if she was being paranoid or ungrateful. After all, Lisa was saving her money, keeping the apartment cleaner than it had ever been, and taking care of tasks that Maya had always found stressful. Maybe this was just what having a really good roommate was like, and Maya wasn't used to it. But deep down, Maya was starting to feel uncomfortable in her own home. Maya's concerns about Lisa grew stronger as the months passed, but every time she tried to address them, she found herself in an impossible situation. Lisa had become so involved in managing their household that Maya wasn't sure how to untangle their arrangements without seeming unreasonable or causing major problems. The lease renewal was approaching, and Lisa suggested they should handle it together. She offered to take care of all the paperwork, since she had more experience with rental agreements from her previous places. Maya was busy with a demanding project at work, so she gratefully accepted Lisa's help. Lisa assured her that everything would be exactly the same, just updated for another year. When the new lease arrived, Maya was shocked to discover that only Lisa's name was on it. Lisa explained that the landlord had suggested this arrangement to simplify things, since Lisa had been handling all the communications anyway. She promised Maya that this was just a paperwork issue and wouldn't change anything about their living situation. Maya felt uneasy but didn't know how to argue without seeming like she didn't trust Lisa. The financial arrangements became more complicated too. Lisa suggested they combine their utilities and household expenses into one account that she would manage. She explained that this would help them get better rates and make budgeting easier. Lisa had already been handling most of these bills anyway, and Maya's busy work schedule made it difficult for her to keep track of everything herself. Before Maya fully realized what was happening, Lisa was paying for almost everything related to the apartment. The internet, electricity, cable, even the grocery bills all went through Lisa's accounts. Maya tried to pay her share, but Lisa would wave away her attempts, saying they could settle up later when she had time to calculate everything properly. That time never seemed to come, and Maya found herself feeling increasingly dependent on Lisa's financial management. Maya's daily routine became more restricted in subtle ways. Lisa had installed a new router that somehow tracked internet usage, and she would mention if Maya was using too much data or visiting certain websites. She explained that their internet plan had limits, and she was just trying to help them avoid overage charges. Maya started feeling self-conscious about her online activities, wondering if Lisa was monitoring everything she did. The apartment itself felt different too. Lisa had gradually changed more and more things without really asking permission. New locks appeared on the front door, which Lisa said were necessary for better security after some break-ins in the neighborhood. The problem was that these locks were complicated, requiring special keys that only Lisa seemed to have. Maya had to rely on Lisa to let her in if she forgot her keys, or if the locks weren't working properly. Maya's work life began to suffer as, well, important emails started going to her spam folder and she missed several crucial messages from her boss and colleagues. When she mentioned this to Lisa, Lisa suggested that Maya's email account might have been compromised and offered to help secure it. She changed Maya's passwords and updated the security settings, promising to share the new information. But somehow Maya never received those details, and she had to keep asking Lisa to help her access her own email. Phone calls became increasingly difficult too. Maya's cell phone reception in the apartment had gotten much worse, though it worked fine everywhere else. Lisa explained that the building's new internet setup sometimes interfered with cellular signals. She suggested Maya use the apartment's landline for important calls. But that phone was in the living room where Lisa could easily overhear every conversation. Maya's relationships with friends and family were deteriorating rapidly. When people tried to visit, they would often find the building's main door locked with no way to buzz up to the apartment. Lisa explained that the building management had upgraded their security system, and visitors now needed special access codes that changed regularly. She promised to give Maya the codes, but Maya never seemed to receive them when she needed them. The few times friends did manage to visit, the atmosphere was increasingly uncomfortable. Lisa would join every conversation, often redirecting topics or sharing information about Maya that felt too personal. She would mention Maya's work stress, her sleeping problems, or her concerns about money in ways that made Maya sound unstable or unreliable. When Maya tried to have private conversations with visitors, Lisa would find reasons to interrupt, always with a smile and an excuse about needing something from the room where Maya was talking. Maya started noticing that Lisa seemed to know things about her activities that she hadn't shared. Lisa would mention places Maya had been or people she had talked to, claiming she had heard about it from mutual friends or had seen social media posts. But Maya was certain she hadn't posted about these activities, and she couldn't figure out how Lisa was getting this information. The most disturbing discovery came when Maya tried to look for a new apartment. She had started feeling like she needed more space and independence, though she couldn't explain exactly why to Lisa without seeming ungrateful. When Maya contacted landlords about available rentals, she was shocked to learn that several places had already received calls from someone claiming to be a reference for her, giving negative reports about her reliability and behavior. Maya confronted Lisa about this, but Lisa seemed genuinely confused and concerned. She suggested that maybe Maya had made enemies at work or that someone was trying to sabotage her for unknown reasons. Lisa offered to help Maya figure out who might be doing this, but her help somehow never led to any useful information. The apartment that had once felt like a safe haven now felt like a maze of confusion and dependence. Maya couldn't make simple decisions without Lisa's input, couldn't access her own accounts without Lisa's help, and couldn't maintain relationships without Lisa's interference. Every attempt Maya made to regain some independence seemed to result in new problems or complications that required Lisa's assistance to solve. Maya was beginning to realize that she was trapped, but the trap had been built so gradually and with such apparent kindness that she couldn't figure out how to escape without destroying everything she thought she needed to survive. Maya's breaking point came on a Friday evening when she decided to visit her parents for the weekend. She hadn't seen them in months, and their phone calls had become less frequent after Lisa started managing so many aspects of her life. Maya felt desperate for some time away from the apartment and Lisa's constant presence. When Maya announced her plans, Lisa's reaction was immediate and intense. Her usual calm demeanor cracked, and she looked genuinely upset. Lisa explained that Maya couldn't possibly leave this weekend because there was a gas leak in the building that required all residents to stay home for safety monitoring. She showed Maya an official-looking notice that she claimed had been slipped under their door. Maya felt confused because she hadn't smelled any gas, and no other neighbors seemed to be acting like there was an emergency. But Lisa insisted that the leak was in the building's main system and might not be detectable in individual apartments. She said the maintenance crew would need to check their unit specifically, and Maya had to be present as one of the leaseholders. The notice looked real enough, with official letterhead and technical language about gas safety protocols. Maya didn't want to take risks with something so dangerous, but she also desperately wanted to see her family. When she suggested calling the building management to confirm the situation, Lisa quickly volunteered to handle the call herself. Since she had been dealing with all their building communications anyway, Lisa spent several minutes on the phone, speaking in serious tones about safety procedures and scheduling inspections. When she hung up, she reported that the situation was indeed serious and that Maya absolutely could not leave until everything was resolved. Maya felt trapped, but didn't know how to argue with safety concerns. That weekend became a nightmare of realization for Maya. She tried calling her parents to explain why she couldn't visit, but her phone seemed to have no signal in the apartment. Lisa explained that the gas leak investigation was interfering with cellular towers in the area. Maya asked to use the landline, but Lisa said they needed to keep the line open for emergency communications with the building management. Maya decided to try reaching her family through social media, but when she attempted to log into her accounts, she discovered that her passwords had been changed. Lisa suggested that the building's internet security had been upgraded due to the emergency, and that all residents' accounts had been temporarily secured. She promised to help Maya regain access once the situation was resolved. As the weekend progressed, Maya began to notice details that made her question everything. She never saw any maintenance workers in the building. The other residents she glimpsed in the hallway didn't seem concerned or aware of any emergency. When she tried to leave just to check the building's main notices, she found that the front door required a special key that Lisa kept in her possession. Maya's attempts to verify the gas leak story led to more disturbing discoveries. The official notice Lisa had shown her was convincing, but when Maya looked more closely, she noticed that the letterhead didn't quite match other building communications they had received in the past. The phone number listed for the management company was one digit different from the number Maya remembered seeing on previous notices. Lisa's explanations for everything became more elaborate and concerning. She claimed that the building management was handling the situation with extreme discretion to avoid panic among residents. She said that Maya's family had been contacted and informed about the delay, though Maya had no way to verify this. Every solution Lisa offered seemed to create more problems and more dependence on Lisa's help. The apartment itself felt different during this forced confinement. Lisa had rearranged things again, this time in ways that made Maya feel even more uncomfortable. Personal items that Maya treasured had disappeared completely, and when she asked about them, Lisa would claim they had been moved for safety during the inspection process. Maya started keeping a mental record of all the inconsistencies in Lisa's stories. The gas leak that no one could smell, the emergency that no other residents seemed to know about, the communication problems that only affected Maya's contacts with the outside world. She began to understand that Lisa had created an elaborate fiction to prevent her from leaving. The most chilling realization came when Maya discovered that Lisa had been intercepting and responding to her messages. Friends and family members had been receiving replies from Maya's accounts that she had never written. These messages explained that Maya was going through a difficult time and needed space from everyone. They apologized for Maya's recent strange behavior and asked people to give her time to work through her personal issues. Maya found evidence of these communications when she managed to briefly access her email on Lisa's computer, while Lisa was in the bathroom. The sent folder contained dozens of messages that Maya had never written, all sent from her account but clearly composed by Lisa. The messages painted a picture of Maya as someone struggling with mental health issues, work problems, and substance abuse concerns. Lisa had systematically destroyed Maya's relationships and reputation while positioning herself as the caring friend who was trying to help Maya through her troubles. People in Maya's life had been gradually convinced that Maya was unreliable, unstable, and potentially dangerous to herself. When Maya confronted Lisa about the fake messages, Lisa's mask finally began to slip completely. She no longer bothered to maintain the pretense of the helpful, caring roommate. Instead, she calmly explained that Maya needed protection from herself, and that Lisa was the only person who truly understood what Maya required to be safe and healthy. Lisa revealed that she had been planning the situation for months, carefully studying Maya's habits, relationships, and vulnerabilities. She had chosen Maya specifically because she seemed lonely, financially struggling, and isolated from strong support systems. Everything that had seemed like coincidence or helpfulness had been calculated manipulation, designed to make Maya completely dependent on Lisa's control. The apartment that had once been Maya's sanctuary had become her prison, and Lisa had become her captor, all while maintaining the illusion that she was Maya's protector and closest friend. Maya realized that her only chance of freedom would come from careful planning and patience. She had to pretend that Lisa's explanations made sense, while secretly preparing for an opportunity to escape. This was the hardest part, because Lisa was watching her constantly, monitoring her mood and behavior for any signs of rebellion or planning. For weeks, Maya played the role of the grateful, dependent roommate who needed Lisa's protection and guidance. She thanked Lisa for keeping her safe, agreed that the outside world was too stressful for her to handle alone, and acted like she appreciated having someone who cared enough to make all her decisions for her. Every word felt like poison, but Maya knew her survival depended on convincing Lisa that the manipulation had worked completely. During this time, Maya began to notice Lisa's routines and habits. Lisa was extremely organized and methodical, which had made her manipulation so effective, but it also meant she followed predictable patterns. Every Tuesday and Friday, Lisa would leave the apartment for exactly 2 hours to attend what she claimed were work meetings that required in-person attendance. Maya used these brief windows of freedom to search the apartment for evidence of Lisa's deception. She found files of documents related to her own life, copies of her birth certificate, social security card, passport, and bank statements that Lisa had somehow obtained. There were notebooks filled with detailed observations about Maya's daily routines, emotional patterns, and relationship dynamics, dating back to before they had even met. The most shocking discovery was a folder labeled with Maya's name that contained similar documentation about 3 other women. Lisa had apparently done this before, repeatedly targeting vulnerable people and gradually taking control of their lives. The files contained photographs, personal documents, and detailed notes about each woman's family, friends, work situation, and psychological profile. Maya also found her old cell phone hidden in Lisa's bedroom closet. When she managed to charge it secretly, she discovered dozens of missed calls and messages from family and friends who were worried about her well-being. These messages revealed that Lisa had not only been impersonating Maya in written communications, but had also been taking phone calls and convincing people that Maya was going through a mental health crisis and needed space. The breakthrough came when Maya found Lisa's spare keys hidden behind a loose baseboard in Lisa's closet. Among them was the special key needed to operate the complex lock on the apartment's front door. Maya carefully made a wax impression of the key using candle wax and dental floss, then returned the original to its hiding place without Lisa noticing. Maya's brother Jake had been the most persistent in trying to reach her, and his messages showed increasing concern about the strange responses he had been receiving from her phone and social media accounts. Maya realized that Jake might be her best hope for getting help, but she needed a way to contact him without Lisa's knowledge. Maya's opportunity came on a Tuesday, when Lisa left for her usual 2-hour meeting. Maya had prepared everything in advance. A simple emergency phone made from parts she had collected over weeks, hidden in a place Lisa wouldn't think to look. She had practiced her escape plan dozens of times in her mind, timing every movement to make sure she could gather essential items and evidence before Lisa returned. When Maya heard Lisa's footsteps in the hallway, she waited exactly 5 minutes to make sure Lisa was truly gone. Then she moved faster than she ever had in her life. She gathered the files about the other women, photos of Lisa's notebooks, copies of the forged documents, and her own important papers that Lisa had been hiding from her. Maya used the improvised key to unlock the apartment door and ran to the building's lobby, where she used a payphone to call both the police and her brother Jake at the same time. She explained the situation as quickly as possible while watching the building entrance for any sign of Lisa's return. Jake arrived within 20 minutes, just as the first police car pulled up to the building. Maya had never been so relieved to see her brother's familiar face. The police officers initially seemed skeptical about her story, but the evidence Maya had collected spoke for itself. The detailed files on multiple women, the forged documents, and the communications sent from Maya's accounts without her knowledge painted a clear picture of systematic manipulation and control. Lisa returned to find police cars outside the building and immediately tried to convince the officers that Maya was having a mental breakdown. She presented herself as a concerned friend who had been trying to help Maya through a difficult period. She had documents and communications ready to support her story, and she spoke with the calm, reasonable tone that had fooled Maya for so long. But Maya was prepared for this. She had anticipated that Lisa would try to paint her as unstable, and she had organized her evidence to demonstrate the pattern of manipulation clearly. The wax key impression matched the special lock exactly, proving that Lisa had been restricting Maya's freedom of movement. The files on other women showed this was not an isolated incident, but a repeated pattern of behavior. The investigation that followed revealed the full extent of Lisa's deception. She had been using fake references to sabotage Maya's attempts to find other housing. She had been intercepting Maya's mail and redirecting important communications. She had even been researching Maya's medical history and family background to better manipulate her emotions and dependencies. Most disturbing of all, the police discovered that Lisa had a history of similar behavior in other cities. She would target women who appeared vulnerable, gradually gain control of their lives, and then disappear when the situation became too complicated to maintain. Maya learned that she was actually lucky compared to Lisa's previous victims, some of whom had lost their jobs, savings, and family relationships before managing to escape. The legal process was complicated because Lisa had been careful to make many of her controlling behaviors technically legal. She had gotten Maya's signature on documents that Maya didn't remember signing, and she had been clever about creating plausible explanations for most of her manipulative actions. But the evidence of document forgery, identity theft, and unlawful restraint was strong enough to result in serious charges. Maya's recovery took much longer than her escape. Learning to trust her own judgment again was incredibly difficult after months of having every decision questioned and controlled. She had to rebuild relationships with friends and family members who had been convinced that she was unstable or unreliable. Some people in her life never fully understood what had happened to her, and a few relationships never recovered. But Maya also discovered a strength she hadn't known she possessed. Her experience, as traumatic as it was, had taught her to recognize manipulation tactics and trust her instincts when something felt wrong. She became an advocate for other people who had experienced similar situations, and she worked with organizations that helped victims of psychological manipulation and control. Maya learned that people like Lisa specifically target individuals who are kind, trusting, and going through transitional periods in their lives. The experience taught her that predators often disguise themselves as helpers, and that the most dangerous manipulations are the ones that feel like care and protection. Maya's story became a reminder that freedom and independence are precious, things that must be protected, and that sometimes the most caring thing someone can do is respect your ability to make your own choices, even when those choices include mistakes.